Okay, welcome to my channel. It is June 27th. If you are new to this channel, I talk a lot about housing, low-income housing, and other complex issues like wraparound services, resources, and how to get these things. I often publish the actual manuals for HUD and COCs, which means you're able to actually see, the rules that you're supposed to play by, except you get to see what the employees see, how they're trained. And so being able to have access to those resources allows you to be able to dramatically climb waiting lists, skip around a lot of the red tape, and get what you need. It's you get informed, you become educated behind this stuff. Most people know me as one of the best resources on YouTube when it comes to this. Okay, so in today's news, what I'd like to talk to you about this morning, there's always a wild ride to the bottom, when things start going bad and you start losing the housing that you have. And a lot of us, at some point or another, may go through that. And then some of us are already at the bottom, on the street or in the shelter, and we're trying to figure out how to climb, up out of that situation, up a little bit of a line here to get back in housing. Okay, so this morning's discussion is going to be on a very ingenious way to do this, okay? For those that don't know my history, I spent 10 years out on the street, across 20 states. I survived shelters in 7 different cities, okay? I worked the system. I got so good at it that I was probably better than the employees behind the computers, okay? It was my choice. So, but anyways, this is not going to be about my history. It's going to be how to help you. First thing I'm going to tell you guys is, a lot of you guys, whether you're going up or down on this list to get yourself in housing or you're losing your housing, a hotel and a motel is a massive mistake. It's a big drain on resources. Some of the worst fucking people I've ever met are the people that stay in these hotels, and I'm going to reveal why that is. But right now, let's just say that you're about to lose your place. You're about to get evicted. It's the pandemic, and you run out of money. Maybe your job has let you go. Look, there are things you can do without pouring the last bit of change you have in your pocket into some shitty hotel, okay? I'm not saying these options are going to be a much more beautiful situation, but it is sure beat the hell out of being out of one of these hotels where you're dealing with people that are dealing drugs. There's prostitution and all kinds of shit going on in these hotels, okay? And I've seen a lot of people fall victim to that. They go in there not even a drug addict and they leave, okay? I want you guys to avoid these hotels. 80 to $100 a day. You're going to burn through your resources, and then it's just not a friendly environment, period. Okay. So, with that being said, let me tell you some resources that you should look at. Okay. So, if you are on your way out or on your way up, so let's pretend like you're on the streets now and you're in a homeless shelter and you're trying to work your way out of the system. The first thing you want to do is, now guys, you're going to have to learn to use Google search. If you don't have it, I don't know how to help you in this arena, okay? So if you get a smartphone or access to a computer at a library, first thing you want to do is type in bunk houses, okay? Now, a lot of people think of that, think a lot of different things about it or don't even know about it. But look, every major city and moderate city has bunk houses. And what that situation is somebody has a home or a building where they set up bunks, literally, in a room. So the room may have 8 or 9 bunks, kind of like being in the county jail, okay? Except people are paying to be there, which means the quality of people that you're around and the fact that they have to pay for that little bit of space to rest their head allows you to be around it's a better situation. So it's a step up. It's cheap, man. It's, $8, $10 a day sometimes, okay? And because people are paying, like I said, you're going to step up a grade higher than you would if you were just out on the street dealing with just anybody. Most people that are there are really hunkered down. They're trying to save money. They're working their job. They come back. They have their little bit of property there by the bed and secure that stuff. Part of that deal is a lot of these bunkhouses do provide meals, and they put out people that are idiots. Okay, so they typically will not take people that have they're out there smoking crack or whatever. They're not going to put up with shit like that in these bunkhouses. The operations tend to be small, and if you act in a respectful manner, you'll be treated with respect. And there's really not much more to it. It's a safe place to keep a few of your things, and then hunker down till you can move on to the next step. It's a cheap resource. Next up, this is going to be a mild mention. Look, Salvation Army has a reputation, okay, for being what it is. It is a homeless shelter, and look, they only give about 4 free nights, maybe five, but the rest of the time they require people to pay. So once again, when you add a factor of money into that, it reduces the amount of trouble that's going to end up in the building, okay? And so I would say that that is probably the bottom of the bottom. I would skip straight to a bunkhouse if you can produce to $8 to $10 a day. And they have weekly rates and monthly rates. Like I said, it's just a small group of people that are like-minded, like you, that are not going to be drunk. They're not going to be high. They're usually not thieves. They're just people on their way up the system. Okay. The second thing I want to tell you about, a lot of you don't realize, is this is a resource you can use. It's called sober living or recovery housing. Okay, really what it is greedy landlords open up these sober living and recovery houses, okay? And, you may be required to attend one little stupid AA meeting, for 45 minutes to an hour a day. But other than that, what those sober living and recovery houses offer is a really cheap option, okay? So you can pretend to be whatever you want. You can say, oh, yeah, I used to be a drug addict, or oh, yeah, I'm an alcoholic, even if you aren't. It doesn't matter. The point is, it's a safe place to be. They usually provide your meals there, and you can get into one of these sober living and recovery type homes where it's a small group of people that want to get off drugs and alcohol. But in your case, you're just there because you can sleep there, continue with your normal life. Nobody's dictating rules other than the fact that you're going to be on your best behavior while you're there. Okay, that's it. You got washer, dryer, you have a kitchen, you share the ice box, stuff like that. It's communal living for around 80 to $100 a week. And so it's a step up off the street, okay? It's a step up above a bunkhouse because a bunkhouse provides just bunk beds, okay? With sober living recovery houses, they may only put one person per room, or they may just put two or three, okay? So you reduce the likelihood of confrontation and different things. In the situations, it's better. You've got TV, some of them have internet, and the situations can be moderate to fairly nice, okay? So you'd want to type into Google sober living or recovery house. You just tell them whatever bullshit you want. But the thing about it is, it's an inexpensive solution, and they're often located around areas where it's easy to find employment, okay? Around buses and that, if you don't have a car. Okay, next up I want to talk to you about, guys, once you pass those two steps, whether you do A or B, you should step it up again. And this time, what you'd want to do is do a Google search for rooming houses, okay? A little bit different than you would imagine. Rooming houses are kind of a fantastic resource because, unlike sober living and recovery houses, rooming houses that you actually rent your own room. You have your own air conditioning, you have a bed in there, a closet, sometimes even a sink, okay? Shared shower, shared kitchen, just like sober recovery and recovery houses, but there's no requirements there. You fill out a little application, pay a key deposit, a $10 application fee to make sure you're not a sexual offender, and then other than that, you have a room with a key to the door. Okay, so that means you can put whatever the hell you want in your room. You're not bothered by anybody. Now, let me make something clear about all these different situations. You're always going to, first of all, if you read reviews, don't worry about that. Okay, they're never going to have great reviews. Look, it's not a five-star hotel. There's always going to be people that are going to bitch about it, okay? They think that they're entitled to so much more for their $8 a day or $100 a week, okay? So don't worry about the bad reviews. I've been to all of these situations when I was out there over that 10 years. The thing you want to focus on, you're out there, you're working, you're coming back, you're going to sleep. Yes, sometimes things are going to be noisy. Sometimes people are going to have an attitude. Wouldn't you have? You're going to have an attitude. I mean, hell, you're struggling, right? But you're struggling on the way up, not down, okay? So rooming houses are a great option to have your privacy, store your stuff, and start getting your life back. Now it's time to step it up to level 4, okay? And you can follow these steps in any order you'd like to, okay? Not just the way that I'm telling to. Next up, you want to go on to Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist and just simply rent a room in a nice home from a family. Let me tell you something about that. It isn't much more than what you would be paying for the rooming houses. Maybe $300-400 a month. Okay, for the month, and you provide a room that may or may not have a bed. But the thing about it is, accommodations get much nicer. You graduated yourself out of the arena of being looked at as homeless and a bum and other things, And so now you're in somebody's home, and they only just see you as a person in a room. So you have full access to the kitchen, washer, dryer, and the attitude changes. So now you're leveling off in life. You're just running a room. Your fifth and final step. Once you get past that, you have one more graduation point, okay, and number five, and that's going to be your month-to-month no lease apartments. How this works, okay, especially if you live in a big city, Chicago, Houston, and all that, you're going to want to focus your attention on neighborhoods that are close to downtown, especially Hispanic neighborhoods, or if you have large gay population in the city. These are excellent places to look for places that you'll see signs out in the yard. Look, we have a little garage apartment per lease month to month. You'll also find entire complexes. Now, the thing about it is, it's not the same as when you Google month to month apartments with a lease. Okay, you got to look for the ones that don't have a lease. They're going to look like a little bit more shitty property, but you get the whole apartment. And the whole guarantee here is you got to pay 1 month in advance, and you better have your money. I'm serious with you. Okay, you get your one bedroom, kitchen's all yours, key to the door. But the minute you don't have that fucking money, you're out of there. Okay, so they're not going to play with you. And let me give you some advice about these places. Just like anywhere else, you're going to have people you like and you dislike. So you know what? Mind your own business. It is a fifth step up to get out, okay? So you get a whole place. Don't treat that place like you're going to be there forever, okay? Don't try to make a home out of shit like that. You're just there to give you space, maybe collect some furniture for the big move for your real place. But yeah, these places still exist. You have to look for them. They're low income. There's no lease. You pay the cash. They may have a little bit of a deposit there, but yeah, it's month to month, no question, no questions type lease. The other option would be is to go through gentrified neighborhoods, and they typically have signs up front where you have old couples, stuff like that, have a big home, may have a garage apartment, whatever. And look, we have a large undocumented community in this country. Okay, what the hell do you think they lease? Okay, they lease from people that have homes or garage apartments. They go to no lease apartments in big Hispanic neighborhoods, or they tend to target large gay populations in the city of Houston. They call it the Montrose. Um, you have old carriage houses. You know, people, as long as you make sure you have that money, they won't mind. You know, they don't mind having you, but they'll put your ass out of that house, that little apartment you're getting, the studio, whatever. And like I said, you know, if you don't have the money, they'll put you out. But the main thing is, there's no lease, no credit check, none of that shit. Okay? Do you think people are doing credit checks of people that are undocumented? There's millions and millions of Hispanic and Mexican people in the country that get the same type of apartments. Okay? So that's meant to be a step up. Your final step. Look, for you guys that have got felonies, it is not the end of the planet with that stuff. Okay? A lot of cities now have hundreds of places where you can lease and rent. The unfortunate part is they jack up the rent about 20% higher than they would for a person who doesn't have a felony, and then you can get it. So after that, if you're capable and you don't have a lot of problems, a lot of felonies and all that, you can move on to your normal life at that point. Okay, so that's 5 or 6 steps. Now let me tell you what you're really doing wrong, guys. The first thing you do is you panic and you go into these stupid hotels, 80 to 100 a day. And I'm telling you that anytime you have a low rent hotel by the month, you're going to have the worst shit possible in that place. Okay. You're going to have a few good people, but what you're really going to get there is you're going to put yourself in the closest contact to people that are smoking crack, selling meth, and all that stuff. Okay. And then the prostitution and ringing your phone in the middle of the night, shit like that. I'm telling you, you don't want to lose your way. Okay. You don't want to lose who you are. Stay away from these fucking hotels and motels. Okay. Choose to go and use these other steps. And like I said, you may not always have the most friendly people, but what you're not going to deal with, what they won't tolerate in any of these other situations, is the prostitution and open-ended drug using and all that shit that's going on, okay? Now, as far as it being male and female, look, all those situations can include male or female, okay? The only one's exception to the rule is sober living and recovery houses. They'll either be mixed or they'll be all men, okay? That's just the way it goes, because the reality is most women really aren't looking for sober living and recovery housing type situations, so they tend to focus more on men. All the other situations are, you know, you can usually find it for both men and women. If you have children, You'll probably want to skip the bunkhouse and sober living situation and skip straight to rooming houses and then work your way up, okay? And like I said, first question in your mind always is it going to be safe? Well, look, what other fucking option do you have? Because you can go sit at the homeless shelter, with your children. How safe do you think that really is? And they're going to put your ass out the building at 6, 7 in the morning with your kids, and they're not going to give a shit about that, okay? So I'm telling you, you have to drop the vanity and do what you need to do to climb this line. So my suggestion this morning to all of you guys that are coming up or going down this elevator from hell is to start googling these things, start compiling your list, and start working on getting that stuff done. Now, look, at noon today, noon or three, I'm going to have an in-depth conversation about homeless shelters, okay? I've survived probably 30, 40 of them in a variety of cities, which means I understand how these things work. I'm gonna tell you guys exactly, what to expect. So if you're going straight to the bottom of the game, then we're gonna talk about what you should expect and why you shouldn't fear that so much, okay? How to behave and what's expected there. And there's a lot of shit you should avoid that they'll try to suck you into, okay? When you get into these programs, and you'll learn that there's a different language used in homeless shelters, like they'll refer to you as a transient or a programmer and stuff like that. So we'll cover the whole arena. That way you're prepared when you go there. Because if you're going to depend on the news and TV to dictate what homeless people are and how they act, you're going to have unrealistic view of all of it, okay? Because it's not that bad. You just have to change, like I said, you're going to have to change your pride and your vanity, and you're going to have to learn to do what you need to do to climb up or down the ladder, okay? Look, folks, I'm going to check the time real quick. We're at 16 minutes, so I'm going to close it out. I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you a little bit later today, okay? Thank you. Bye.